Press your thumb into your lower shin. Right now, before I say another word, just above the ankle. Press. Hold it 5 seconds. Did it leave a dent? If it did, that's called pitting edema, and it means fluid is collecting in your tissue because your kidneys are struggling to filter it out fast enough. A lot of people in their 70 seconds have it right now. They think it's normal ankle swelling. Their doctor says drink more water. Nobody asked what they ate for dinner last night. Here's what I need you to understand. Before we go any further, 37 million Americans have chronic kidney disease. 9 out of 10 have no idea. Not because they haven't seen a doctor. Not because they haven't had blood work. Because the foods destroying their kidneys don't look dangerous. They look like lunch. I want to tell you about a woman named Carol, 73 years old, retired school librarian from Knoxville, Tennessee. Carol was careful about her health, genuinely careful. She took her blood pressure medication every morning, the deli turkey, the canned soup, the ibuprofen, 3 foods, all of them considered safe. All 3 of them on this list. My name is Dr. Leonard Javier, and what Carol's story taught me and what I want to teach you today is this. The foods destroying senior kidneys after 70 are not the obvious ones. They're not alcohol. They're not soda. They are the foods that look responsible, that feel like discipline, that have been marketed to you as the careful choice. And once I explain why they damage kidneys, the actual mechanism, you're going to look at what's in your refrigerator very differently. I'm going to rank 3 of the worst offenders. Worst to worstest. And I'll explain not just what they do, but why your kidneys after 70 are specifically more vulnerable than they were at 50. Because that part, nobody talks about that part. A 2025 study from the Korean National Health Insurance Senior Cohort, 41,000 participants, all over 65, found that regular users of one category of common pain reliever had a 46% higher risk of developing chronic kidney disease than non-users. 46% higher risk from something available over the counter at every Walmart, Costco, and CVS in America. I'll tell you exactly which one, and I'll tell you what to use instead. But first, the reason your kidneys after 70 are a different situation than they were at 50. Here is what happens to your kidneys as you age. And I need you to understand this because it changes how dangerous these foods are. At 50, your kidneys are filtering blood at roughly 100 milliliters per minute. That's your GFR. 100 is healthy. By 70, even in completely healthy adults, with no disease whatsoever, that number has dropped to somewhere between 65 and 75. Naturally, without any disease, just aging. Now picture what that means. Your kidneys at 70 are already running at about 70% of the capacity they had 20 years ago. And then you eat something that puts extra stress on that system. At 50, 70% capacity could absorb the hit. Your kidneys had reserve. At 70, you're already at the margin. There's no cushion left. Think of it like a car engine. At 50,000 miles, a little extra heat. Doesn't matter. The engine handles it. At 210,000 miles, that same extra heat finds every weakness the engine already has. Your kidneys after 70 are the 200,000 mile engine. And the foods I'm about to show you are running that engine hot. All right, 3 foods worst to most surprising. Number 3 is hiding in your kitchen right now. Most of you are going to pause this video and go check the label after I explain what's in it. Let's start with number 3. Number 3, ultra-processed food. And I know how that sounds. You've heard processed food is bad for years. You're probably tired of hearing it, but stay with me because what I'm about to explain is not about calories or sodium. It's about something that's been hiding on ingredient labels for decades that your kidneys absorb at nearly 3 times the rate of the same substance found in natural food. It's called inorganic phosphate. Phosphorus is not a bad thing. Your bones need it. Your cells need it. Your body has evolved over thousands of years to absorb a very specific amount from natural food. Somewhere between 30 and 40% of what you eat. Your gut is designed to absorb it slowly, to take what it needs and pass the rest. But food manufacturers discovered something about 50 years ago. Inorganic phosphate, the synthetic kind made in a lab and added to food as a preservative and texture enhancer, gets absorbed at a completely different rate. Not 30 to 40%, 90%. Your body treats synthetic phosphate like it treats glucose. It absorbs almost all of it. And here's what your kidneys do with that load. When phosphate rises in your blood above the threshold your body can manage, your kidneys have to work overtime to filter it out. That's normal kidney function. Remove the excess. But in a senior over 70 with reduced filtration capacity, the excess builds faster than it clears. And phosphate that accumulates in soft tissue doesn't just sit there. A process called renal calcification begins. Your kidneys start depositing tiny calcium phosphate crystals in their own tissue. The tubules, the microscopic structures that actually do the filtering, begin to harden from the inside. Dr. Ekberg at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden calls this the kidneys turning to stone from the inside. And while that sounds dramatic, the mechanism is documented in the nephrology literature going back decades. The problem is that nobody put it on a food label. Because the FDA doesn't require manufacturers to list phosphate content, only the ingredient name. And disodium phosphate or sodium hexametaphosphate doesn't mean anything to most people reaching for a box of crackers. A study published in Nutrients in 2023, Calvo, Dunford, and Uribarri specifically identified industrial phosphate additives as the mechanistic link between ultra-processed food intake and kidney damage. Not the sodium, not the fat, the phosphate. Now here's the kitchen moment, because this is an abstract. You want to know where this phosphate is hiding? I'll tell you exactly. It's in packaged deli meats, the turkey, the ham, the chicken breast slices. It's in processed cheese, the kind in individually wrapped slices. It's in flavored crackers in most commercial bread that has a soft texture that lasts 2 weeks without going stale, in frozen meals, in canned soups that have meat in them. The phosphate is what keeps the deli meat pink. It's what gives processed cheese its melt. It's what preserves the softness in commercial bread. If the ingredient list contains anything ending in phosphate, sodium phosphate, calcium phosphate, disodium phosphate, pyrophosphate, hexametaphosphate, your kidneys are absorbing that at 90% bioavailability. Go check the bread in your kitchen right now, the crackers in your pantry, the deli meat in your refrigerator. What you want instead is simple. Bread with 5 ingredients or fewer, flour, water, yeast, salt, and maybe sugar. No phosphates. Deli meat replaced with fresh cooked chicken or turkey you sliced yourself. Real cheese, cheddar, Swiss, mozzarella without the phosphate preservatives. And here's a small thing that helps immediately. Rinse canned beans before you use them. Not because of sodium, because canned products often use phosphate-based preservation agents that sit in that liquid. Drain it, rinse it. Your kidneys will thank you. Number 3, processed phosphates hiding in foods you've been told are healthy. Absorbed at nearly 3 times the rate your gut was designed for. But number two is the one that Carol's story is really about. And if you've been told that occasional use is fine, I need you to hear the actual research. Number 2, ibuprofen and its chemical cousins, naproxen, aspirin in high doses, and the class of drugs called NSAIDs. And yes, I know, this is not a food. But for the average American over 70, it is consumed as regularly as breakfast. Some of my patients take it every morning with their orange juice like a vitamin. And I need to explain what it does to the kidney, specifically after 70, because the mechanism is something your pharmacist never had time to walk you through at the counter. Your kidneys filter blood by maintaining precise pressure in a network of tiny blood vessels called glomeruli. Each kidney has about 1 million of them. They are microscopically small, and the pressure they maintain to push fluid through the filter depends on a class of molecules called prostaglandins. Prostaglandins are your kidney's traffic controllers. They keep the blood vessels dilated just enough to maintain filtration pressure. When the body needs it, they open the lanes. When stress occurs, they hold things stable. NSAIDs, ibuprofen, naproxen, all of them work by blocking prostaglandin production. That's how they reduce pain and inflammation. But they block it everywhere in your body, including in your kidneys. When prostaglandins are suppressed in the kidney, filtration pressure drops. GFR falls. Blood isn't flowing through the filter the way it should. For a 35-year-old with healthy kidneys, this is temporary. They pop 2 ibuprofen, their kidneys handle the pressure drop, everything normalizes. For a 72-year-old already filtering at 70% capacity, that same pressure drop hits a system with no margin. And when this happens repeatedly, once a week, 3 times a week, every day for a knee that won't stop aching, the accumulated GFR drops don't fully recover. A study published in Drugs and Aging in 2025 followed 41,000 seniors in South Korea aged 65 and older. All had normal kidney function at the start. The NSAID users, not people using massive doses, people using NSAIDs as commonly prescribed and available over the counter, had a 46% higher hazard ratio for developing chronic kidney disease compared to non-users. 46%. A separate Swedish cohort study found that among elderly NSAID buyers purchasing over the counter, 42% already had a GFR below 60, meaning they already had kidney disease and had no idea. Here's the part that I think about when I think about Carol. Nobody told her. The pharmacy heard the ibuprofen. Her doctor mentioned occasional use was okay. And occasional gradually became 3 times a week because the knee was getting worse. At no point in that process did anyone test her kidney function in response to it. So here's what I want you to do, and this is practical, not scary. If you take ibuprofen or naproxen more than twice a month, ask your doctor to check your creatinine and GFR at your next appointment. Not as an emergency, as a baseline. If you need pain relief for joints, the alternative that is safe for kidneys at any stage is acetaminophen Tylenol. The same dose range, not the same mechanism. It does not block prostaglandins. It does not affect kidney filtration pressure. Natural anti-inflammatories with research support for joint pain. Omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA in fish oil. Curcumin in combination with piperine for absorption. And ginger extract. All 3 have published clinical data for inflammation reduction. None of them affect kidney filtration. I'll put the dosage and brand guidance in the description. Number 2, NSAIDs, specifically ibuprofen, available without a prescription. Taken like a vitamin by millions of seniors. And at the dosing frequency, most people use it after 70, one of the most quietly damaging things your kidneys face. But number one is the reason I told you Carol's story at the beginning. Because number 1 is what she added to her routine when she was trying to do the right thing. Real quick, if what we're covering today connects to what's happening to your blood sugar overnight, I wrote a guide on exactly that. It's called the Midnight Insulin Trap. Link is in the description below. Number 1, processed deli meat. Specifically turkey breast, ham, and chicken breast that comes pre-sliced in packages. The kind that sits in the refrigerated section at Walmart, Kroger, Target, every grocery store in America. The kind you've been buying for years because red meat was bad for your heart. And I want to explain why this is number 1 and why it's specifically devastating for seniors. Not just people with kidney disease, but seniors who don't know they have early kidney disease yet. Processed deli meats contain 3 separate kidney stressors working simultaneously. First, the inorganic phosphate we discussed at number 3, at even higher concentrations than in bread or crackers. A study in the Journal of Renal Nutrition measured the phosphorus to protein ratio across different meat preparation methods. Processed deli meats scored 15.83 milligrams of phosphorus per gram of protein. Fresh unprocessed chicken, 8.41 milligrams per gram. Nearly double. And because it's the inorganic synthetic form, it absorbs at 90%. Second, nitrates and nitrites. These preservatives extend shelf life and maintain the pink color. In the body, nitrites generate something called reactive nitrogen species, compounds that create oxidative stress in kidney tubule cells. The same tubule cells that are already running at reduced efficiency after 70. A 2024 meta-analysis published in Frontiers in Nutrition, He, Jiang, and colleagues pooled data from 786,216 participants across multiple cohort studies. High consumption of ultra-processed foods, including processed meats specifically, was associated with a 25% increased risk of chronic kidney disease. 25% higher risk from a food that has been consistently marketed as the healthy protein alternative. Third, and this is the part most people never hear about, processed deli meats are one of the primary sources of what are called advanced glycation end products, AGEs. A GS form when proteins and sugars react at high temperatures or during industrial processing. They are compounds that the body cannot easily break down, and the kidneys are the primary organs responsible for clearing them from the blood. Every slice of processed deli meat that you eat adds to the AGE burden your kidneys are already trying to clear alongside everything else they're doing. In a senior over 70 whose filtration rate is already reduced, that accumulating AGE load is not theoretical. It is measurable in blood tests, and it is associated with accelerated kidney scarring. The reason this is number 1 above NSAIDs, above processed bread and crackers, is because of how it was sold. Deli turkey was marketed as the responsible alternative to red meat. The heart-healthy choice, the protein that doesn't clog your arteries. And it does not clog arteries. That part is true. But the kidneys? Nobody put the kidneys in that conversation. And for the millions of seniors over 70 who made the switch from hamburgers to turkey sandwiches and felt virtuous about it, the phosphate load, the nitrite load, and the AGE burden has been accumulating quietly in their kidneys for years. That is what happened to Carol. She stopped eating red meat. She started eating deli turkey every day. She took ibuprofen for the knee. She ate the canned soup with the processed meat in it. Every single choice was the informed, careful choice. And every single choice hit her kidneys from a different angle. Here's the good news. Carol's GFR at her most recent checkup, 18 months after she changed these three things, was 63. Not back to where she started. Kidney damage doesn't fully reverse at stage 3, but it stopped declining. It stabilized. And for a 73-year-old woman with kidney disease, stabilization is the win. Her nephrologist told her at her last visit, "Whatever you changed, keep doing it. That's what I want for you." Before I get into what to eat instead, if you have high blood sugar alongside any of what I've described today, these two conditions feed each other at the kidney level. I wrote about that overnight connection in a guide called The Midnight Insulin Trap. It addresses the specific mechanism that happens between midnight and 5 a.m. Link is in the description below. Now, there are three combinations that make everything I just described significantly worse. And one of them is something most seniors do every single morning. Combination 1, ibuprofen taken with any blood pressure medication, specifically ACE inhibitors or ARBs. Lisinopril, enalapril, losartan, valsartan. Here's the mechanism. ACE inhibitors and ARBs lower blood pressure in the kidney by dilating the blood vessels that deliver blood to the glomeruli. NSAIDs constrict those same vessels by suppressing prostaglandins. These two medications are working against each other in your kidneys simultaneously. Nephrologists call this the triple whammy. Diuretics, ACE inhibitors or ARBs, and NSAIDs. Any two of the three increases kidney risk. All three together creates a documented pattern of rapid GFR decline that has sent patients from stage 2 to stage 4 in under a year. If you take a blood pressure medication and you reach for ibuprofen for pain, call your doctor first. This is not theoretical caution. This is a documented drug interaction with consequences measured in kidney function. Combination 2. Processed deli meat with a high potassium food at the same meal, specifically if your GFR is already below 60. When kidneys are struggling to filter, potassium and phosphate both accumulate in the blood. A meal that combines high phosphate from the deli meat with high potassium from bananas, oranges, tomatoes, or potatoes creates a compounding electrolyte load that reduced function kidneys cannot clear efficiently. This is why kidney disease dietary advice often seems contradictory. Foods that are healthy for normal kidneys, high in potassium, full of nutrition, become stressors for kidneys. That can't manage the electrolyte balance. If your GFR is above 60, this is less critical for you, but awareness matters. If your GFR is below 60, this combination at a single meal is not theoretical. It is measurable. Combination 3, and this one surprises people. Processed meat with a high phosphate beverage at the same meal. That means colas, regular or diet, any carbonated drink that contains phosphoric acid. The ingredient listed as phosphoric acid in the ingredients of most sodas. A single can of cola contains approximately 60 milligrams of phosphoric acid, an inorganic phosphate absorbed at 90%. Combined with the phosphate load from processed deli meat, the cumulative hit on your kidney's phosphate clearing system at a single meal is measurable. If you're going to eat deli turkey, and my goal is to get you to replace it, but life happens, drink water, unsweetened tea, or black coffee with that meal. Not a soda. Not even a diet soda if phosphoric acid is on the label. All right, here is the 1-week reset. Simple, specific, nothing complicated. Day 1 through 3, one replacement. Replace processed deli meat with one of these 3 alternatives. Fresh cooked chicken that you slice yourself. A rotisserie chicken from Walmart costs under $7 and lasts 3 days of lunches. Canned tuna or sardines in water. No phosphate additives, high omega-3 under $2 at any grocery store. Hard-boiled eggs. 3 eggs provide the same protein as 2 slices of deli meat with none of the synthetic phosphates. Day 4 through 7. Check your pain reliever. Look in your medicine cabinet. If you have ibuprofen, the blue Advil bottle, the orange Motrin, check how often you actually use it. If it's more than twice a month, have a conversation with your doctor about your GFR and about alternatives. Switch to acetaminophen, Tylenol for your regular pain management. Same dosing range, different mechanism. Your kidneys handle it completely differently. This week, label audit. Pick up 3 packaged items in your kitchen. The bread, the crackers, the soup. Flip them over. Scan the ingredient list for any word containing phosphate. If you find it, you now know what it's doing. The replacement is not hard. Bread with 5 or fewer ingredients, Aldi carries it for under $3. Plain rice cakes, fresh fruit instead of packaged crackers. That's the week. 3 days to swap the protein. 4 days to look at the pain reliever. 1 label audit that takes 10 minutes. By the end of next week, you will have removed the 3 biggest daily kidney stressors from your routine. And your kidneys will start the week after that with a little more capacity than they had today. Before I close, I want to tell you something about what happens between midnight and 5 o'clock in the morning to kidneys that are already under stress from the foods I just described. There's a hormonal process that occurs overnight, specifically involving how your liver releases glucose and what that does to kidney filtration pressure during sleep. Most people who wake up with swollen ankles or elevated morning creatinine don't realize the damage happens in the dark, not during the day. I wrote about this in a guide specifically for people who are managing blood sugar and kidney health at the same time, because the two are connected in ways most endocrinologists and nephrologists treat as separate problems. It's called the midnight insulin trap. And if everything I described today lands as familiar, if Carol's story sounded like someone you know or like you, that guide is the next step. Link is in the description below. Tell me what you're doing right in the comments. Not what's not working, what is working. What have you already changed that moved your numbers, helped your ankles, helped your energy? I read every comment, and the patterns in what my viewers share have shaped more than one video on this channel. Drop it below. And one more thing before you go. Remember when I said that deli turkey was marketed as the safe alternative to red meat? There's one kind of red meat that the research actually shows is protective for kidney function. Not damaging, protective. I made another video that breaks down exactly which one and why the way Americans prepare it turns it from protective into damaging. The number of people who are eating it the wrong way is almost everyone. That video is right here. Take care of yourself.